Welcome and good morning. This is the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Tire, and such a pleasure to be here once again. This is a brand new week, and guess what? This week takes us to Christmas Day, and we will be having a great time this week. I believe it's a season to be jolly. This is really a right thing to say compliments of the season and Merry Christmas in advance to you all, to all our friends, our tribe members, our colleagues, our viewers, first timers as well. Would like to tell you that we love you on the Good Morning Education Show, and we appreciate you for all your comments, for joining us, for being a part of the show Mondays, Sundays at all times. We've actually stopped the weekend special for a while, and I believe that very soon we will be resuming the weekend special. But before then, I'd like to just want to thank everyone, for joining us. If this is your first time of joining the Good Morning Education Show, please do not hesitate to tell us your name and location where you're streaming from. We appreciate you to contribute during the show. Feel free to share your comments on our conversation, on the points being made, on the subject matter, on the headline reviews, and probably also comments being made. Share your comments pretty much. And also, we would like to encourage you not just to stop and share your comments. Do not hesitate to ask questions. Yes, the Good Morning Education Show has been designed to be interactive where we could learn from each other, we could share with each other, because our ultimate aim is so that we all can grow together. And I know that you do not want to miss this opportunity. So please feel free to send us your name, tell us who you are, tell us where you're connecting from, and we'll be glad to entertain your questions, treat your questions accordingly. Now, on the Good Morning Education Show, we start Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time. I repeat, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time. And then we'll take a stop further. Our weekend special starts on Saturday and ends on Sunday. And that weekend special, the timing is on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. West African time. And then we have Sundays, and Sundays we have 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. West African time. Our usual mantra of the show is that it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show, and it will be a great morning today as well. And speaking on that we're going to be having on the show. Normally on the show, we spend some time to treat headlines. News headlines are special ways where we also address conversations, matters arising within and around the world of education. And then after that, we take a step further from our weekend. We take a step further from the headlines to the show proper. And on that, we begin to discuss on the subject matter in question for the day. And today will not be an exception. We're going to be doing that as well. Um, we're going to be having conversation on that. And I'm sure today's today's topic is one interesting topic you do not want to miss. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Yeah, I believe everyone who has been a part of the show will have something to learn from. The past few weeks, we've had opportunity to learn from some of the topics, in terms of personal development, in terms of professional development, personal advancement, professional advancement as well. Without wasting much time, we also have analysts who join us on the show from time to time, and we will be hearing from them as well this morning. We'll be hearing from them as well this morning. So let's start with the first headline. First headline says ASU holds National Executive Committee. ASU holds National Executive Committee and months on outcome. Now we know that in the news has been the proposed ASU strike, and we've been having several conversations on this. A lot of people have had their views as to the disruption that this might cause for the education system, and knowing fully well that this year has witnessed its own challenges for the higher institutions. We hope that it's something that will be treated, once and for all. So let's look at how things play out with regards to ASU. Then the next headline is Football Stadium, 18 classroom block studio, pictures and photos of new school built by Nigerian governor. Yes, we had an announcement last week of the dynamic introduction of, of the buildings that have been done by the governor, and this is something that we say is noteworthy, and like to appreciate them. We don't know how this sometimes could play out. We're excited that schools are being developed, and I know that it's a matter of time we'll begin to have better experiences, as the case may be. All right, so we're going to have another headline. This time around, this headline is coming from NECO. NECO is in the news, so let's take that headline. It says, just a second. The NECO headline says, NECO 2021, list of states where schools were derecognized for mass cheating. Well, when it comes to malpractices, keep on hearing things like this, but it's saddening that this could happen at this layer. You understand? We believe that with time, it should get better, where schools are not under the pressure, to do things that are not necessarily wholesome, things that are not right, things that are not good. Because cheating is circumventing a lot of things, and it might look like there's current gain, but the truth of the matter is, we are creating a time bomb, because once people begin to cheat, it becomes a value, and their values becomes eroded, and so many other things happen in the process. But I think that schools need to wake up and do better than the way it's suggested, as it were. So that's that. All right. So we're going to go to the next headline, and This one is saying, still from ASU, Mr. Man, we're hearing uh, ASU accuses Buhari's government of blackmail, gives update on strike. Well, first is the fact that there was a meeting and there was no outcome or comment on the strike. But now it says that the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has accused the federal government of blackmail and propaganda. ASU made this remark while accusing the federal government of reneging on plans to review the draft renegotiated 2009 FGN ASU agreement. In a statement titled Enough of Blackmail and signed by its president, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke ASU, vowed to continue fighting for the welfare, excuse me, for the continue fighting for the welfare of lecturers. The body also postponed its decision on strike because consultations were ongoing. Um, and ASU reiterated that the federal government had failed to address all the issues raised in the 2009 agreement. Well, this is worrisome, um, I must say, and I hope that with time we get these things addressed as a matter of fact, because um, strike is not something that is an attractive thing. To be honest, strike should not be something that we should be talking about as the things we are dealing with in this day and age. You know, it should be something that probably must have been, past reference of what's been happening, within the education sector. It should be something that we should refer to. Um, and I think that ASU needs to look at a different approach, right? I understand the challenges that there could be, but this approach has to come from a place of this approach has to come from the approach has to come from a place of planning, from a place of strategy, from a place of development. You know, it can't just be business as usual. It has to be something that we have to look at. Um, ASU itself must see itself as working with stakeholders and communicating with stakeholders their stake. You know, I think that it's time that we begin to highlight the value across the education value chain. For everyone, for all and sundry, we need to begin to highlight these values, as it were, and then people now begin to see the difference. People begin to see the impact, as it were. The value of education is not just what we want, but the relevance. The lecturers themselves need to have an agenda to make themselves much, much, much more relevant. In the scheme of things, they must make themselves relevant in the scheme of things. And for me, that's where we'll now begin the conversation, because the welfare of lecturers are very important, is very important. However, it must not stop there. We must begin to look at things from a balanced perspective. What about the welfare of students? The people who paid one way or the other for services in alignment to a promise that within so number of years, this has to happen. you know I think that we should also be looking at that. It's a disservice while trying to fight for the welfare of the customer, because the students themselves are customers, you know, trying to fight for the welfare of customers. And then we now realize that the, 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 the people are held to ransom. I think this is not fair. I think it should not be so. And I think that the change must happen, and the change must happen very quickly. You know, that's for my sake. Um, that's my own point that I would like to make. It's important that we understand things from this perspective, you know, understand this from this perspective. And yeah, so that's really what it is and how it should be. And I know that with time, we begin to see much more from a different perspective, things, highlighting the value chain, and all the things that we need to actually position ourselves to get the best of things within the time that it's allowed, as it were. Yes. So from my end, I think that's the story and the expected outcome. You know, and on that note, I think that it's important that we go straight to the conversation of the day. Uh, and the conversation of today is quite an interesting one. Um, and why am I saying this? Because it comes from like different perspective, and I'll be sharing with you, and hopefully when our analysts join us as well, I'll be sharing with you the different perspective that you can look at it from. So the question or the topic says, when I met me. And one of the things that we normally hear, not just at interviews, but sometimes when we connect with people or when we go to people, is the question, can we meet you? Let me meet you. And of course, it's question introduction. I think the introduction will be incomplete once you are looking at introduction in terms of just mere, description of name, calling yourself the name you've always been, and all that. Introduction is part of meeting someone. But it's funny how we do this unconsciously, sometimes consciously, over a period of time, and we just sit down and now realize that we ourselves have not really met ourselves. And this is coming from a third eye perspective. That number one, when I met me, is almost like a sum total experience of someone looking at you and becoming your reflection and giving you feedback, or not even someone, because sometimes it doesn't just have to be someone. Are you really actually spending time to see yourself like a documented report and really get to say, so this is who I am, or this is what I am? A sum total of your reality, a sum total of your personality, sum total of your aspiration, and a sum total of your wiring. You need to meet you, is very important. And what will happen to an individual who gets to eventually meet himself? These are the things that I would like to talk about this morning on the Good Morning Education Show, because it's quite important. So many of us pursue personal development goals, pursue professional development goals, pursue big and lofty dreams, but yet we've not really met ourselves. We've heard people say, oh, I'm doing what I'm called to do, what I'm assigned to do, I'm following my purpose, path, and assignment. But the truth of the matter is, can all this happen without you meeting you? What happens when you meet you? What happens when the real you, is presented to you? What happens when you go into a path of discovery, and that discovery brings you to meeting your true self? What happens when you actually appraise history and life, appraising the year and appraising all the years in your life? What happens? On that note, I'd like to welcome Olushola Olumide to the show. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Rotimi. It's nice to be here this morning, and good morning to our tribe members out there. I want to believe this is going to be a great week, and from where we're even starting from this morning, I cannot but agree with you 100% on this issue of when I meet me, you meeting you, myself meeting my person. I remember on Saturday, I was a UI talking to those young people and tell them that if you spend 80% looking for who you are, discovering yourself, I think it's worth it. It make your development and your deployment very, very easy. That's if you don't meet yourself, you dissipate energy, you engage resources, time will be wasted, will be engaged only to discover that you are in a wrong place. You will have wasted your time and wasted the time of other people surrounding you. We cannot talk too much about meeting who you really are. It goes a long way. It is the fundamental thing, or else you'll be laboring in another man's field. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Because it sounds like a funny topic. It sounds like when you say when I met me. But the truth of the matter is, and I'm happy conversation is something that I think people must have consistently, and also it also helps people to create defining moments for themselves, as opposed to defining moments happening in itself, and you get to pull the brakes. I'd like to welcome Wacham Georgie for joining us this morning on the Good Morning Education Show. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning.
Come on, pop up the volume. It's the Good Morning Education Show. Let's have some energy.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wow.
All right. So we can.
All right. Okay.
So we're talking about
I'm
when
good.
I
How's
met
everyone?
me. Very well.
Okay.
So we're talking about when I met me, and we're looking at it from the angle of the fact that it's very important that people need to know themselves for themselves. They need to know themselves in themselves, And we'd like to start that, and I'm going to bring that question to Lushola, then I'll come to you. And also, I just noticed you joined us in Good Morning. Thank you for joining the show. Lushola, the question I'm going to ask you is, have you met yourself? And if yes, for anyone out there planning to, what are the steps to take in meeting themselves?
Thank you very much. I will say yes. I have been able to meet myself, and I am grateful for that step, even though I didn't know as much as I do now, neither was I aware of myself as much as I do now. But I want to sincerely, thank God for being able to discover. Fine. It tilts my trajectory. Funny enough, we didn't discuss this before. This will be in the last 5 days. This will be about the 4th episode I'll be having on this matter. Yes, and generally, when I talk to especially young people, I will tell them after this discussion, it will change the trajectory of your life. That some of you may be necessary. You may have to change your course from here. And I've seen that happen times with that number. We had a career talk on campus on Thursday, and I needed to engage the 300, 400 level students. One professor was seated before me. That professor was writing as if she was in secondary school, copying notes. I had not even talked for 5 minutes when I overheard her calling. She was summoning somebody that person should be coming to the hall. And on Saturday, I spoke about the same thing in UI. Just yesterday, a brilliant young man, I've been looking to see him for the last 2 months, so I told the father to bring him to me, and the father did. We sat down like this. He's a genius by excellence, but he's finding it difficult to gain admission. So I told the father, he shouldn't be a square peg in a round hole. His last jump, he had 308. So not that he doesn't, in fact, his elder brother told me he's the most disciplined in the family. But guess what, Rotimi? As he sat down, I confronted him. Can you give me the best 5 subjects you are good at? He listed 6, and biology was not there. So I told him, you see, you are not cut out to go and study medicine. I needed to change the trajectory of his life because he has not met himself. With his brilliance and the success he had achieved, it was about missing it. I told him, by the time you enter medicine, I know you will not fail, but your innate quality and tendencies will begin to call you and beckon at you. You experience fatigue in that course. You get tired. You like, sorry, it's as if I'm miserable. I'm not getting satisfaction. You may be in 200-300 level. You will bolt out eventually. And he agreed with me completely that he needed to change towards engineering. Now, you look at your interest. You look at the impetus. Number 1, interest. Number 2, impetus. Number 3, you look at your innovation, or what we call creativity. Number 5, you look at what resonates with you ordinarily. Yes, it has to be developed, it has to be nurtured, you must self-aware, but these are precursors. These are things that cause your attention to where you should be headed in life. And I've said it before, I'm saying it again, that you are on motion does not mean you have direction in life. They are two different things. Motion and direction are two different things. If your motion will ever get direction, you need clarity. And meeting me, I think I need a psychological, mental, physical, probably spiritual GPS to discover who I am and what I am meant to do. A lot of people claim to have seen their purpose in life. Majority have not even discovered their purpose. They are just doing trial by error. And for a quite number of people, whatever is trending and bringing money suddenly becomes their purpose. If tomorrow that is no longer bringing money or trending, they tell you it's not their purpose again. It's not like that. Look at your interest. Look at your impetus. As you look at that, look at your innovation. Look at your interest. Look at the thing that resonates from within you. Until you discover, don't venture into developing that thing, or else you may be building on sinking sand. And it's a matter of time, it will collapse. So I will tell anyone listening to me out there, you can always endeavor to meet yourself. And when you do, take the right course. It doesn't matter how far you have gone. When you return, yes, it will take time, it will take energy, but you eventually get to where you are going. But if you continue in the wrong direction, because you feel it is too late, at the end of the day of your life, you will still not get to the intended destination you want to go. It will have amounted to a waste of life. I want to stop there so the other can talk. Thank you very much. Hello.
I think his network has frozen because he's not moving.
Oh, it's not moving. Okay, no problem.
I think both of us are still live. I think network has taken him out. It's the network.
Okay. Fiyinfolu, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. George, while we are waiting for him to come back, of course, you can always write on the question he asked and bring your perspective. Then Fiyinfolu will then say something to why we expect Rotimi back. Thank you.
Okay, so I think the question he asked you was if you had met yourself. And yeah, if I'm answering that question, have I met myself? Yes, I have met myself. I didn't meet myself early enough, but eventually I did. And when I did, it's one thing I would say that everybody needs to get to a point in their lives where they meet themselves, where they get introduced to themselves. It doesn't it may sound strange, like, oh, but I know me. There are some instances that you're not sure what your response will be until you're in that situation. You can't say, oh, this is who I am, until you're in certain situations. And so yes, when you are immersed in those kind of situations, and you are introduced to yourself, and you see the way you respond, you see the way the, the even the reacts, not just respond, you see the way you react, then you know, okay, so these are what my strengths are, these are what my weaknesses are. It's like doing a personal SWOT analysis, and facing oneself, looking in the mirror, and really saying that, oh, this is me. And so going forward, like the example you gave about the young man that wanted to do medicine or was it engineering, I knew early on in life that yes, I was one of those students who could easily feature, or who could easily be a social science or art student. But knowing myself, I knew that I didn't want to study medicine because of the length of time it takes to study medicine. So for me, it's like, if you have a 1 year course in the university, I will do it. I don't like to stay too long on things. Then at a point, I felt, oh yeah, I like architecture, but I don't like to stay long on things, the intricacies of architecture, having to sit down to draw lines and all of that. Nah, it was out of it for me. And so I had to look more into myself and say, look, what are those things that come to me naturally? What are those things that I enjoy doing, that even if I have to sleep on it, I don't mind, I will do it. And that was one phase of me getting to meet myself. That was one phase of me getting to know myself. And then eventually said, okay, yeah, I'm going to do very well in the arts. So anything that requires that is non what's the that's non-routine, anything that is dynamic, yes, that's what I want to do. And so I was able to plug myself into that. But as going further, as you get older, the challenges are different. And then going further, I was able to get to a point where I knew, oh, these are the skills that I have. These are the skills I do not have. And these are the ones that I need to acquire. These are the ones I really do not need to put emphasis on. So, yeah, it's essential for everyone to meet themselves. It reduces the length of time that it takes floundering around. It reduces the length of the time wasted, even money wasted in just doing things. Oh, because they recommended this thing, you jump into it, or because this is what is trending, you jump into it, whether you're suited for it or not. And bringing it to education, I would say that and schools owe their students the duty of helping them find themselves, yeah, leading them along the way, leading them along the lines that help them to pin and say, oh, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do with who I am, as they go. But that should be a primary duty of education and of educators. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Pocham, are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, I still want you to jump on the same question before we go to another question. Thank you.
Okay. The question, have I met myself? Yes, I have. I was the type that would say that I did a lot of different things before I met myself, and I had a defining moment. Mine was a defining moment. Meeting myself was that thing that brought me to meet myself was my defining moment, and I realized that okay, if I keep going the way I'm going, I'm going to crash. And if I keep hopping on anything or doing this or always taking the opinions of others on in my life and all, I was literally going to crash. Yes, I've met myself. And since then, as she said, as T said, there are times you now see yourself that you can project yourself in certain situations. You're able to answer this situation. You're able to look forward. You're able to know how to react. You're able to position yourself way, way better. And then when you meet yourself, it brings out the truer you. You know what you want. As she also said, SWOT. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know what you can work on, you know what you can get. Your mindset changes. I'm all about the mindset, especially being positive, and then you know your mindset is rooted in the right thing. You know your mindset changes. You see yourself on a different plane. So yes, meeting myself was one of the best things that happened to me. At the same time, when I met myself, that was when I started getting a lot of, oh, you changed, you changed, you changed. No, I didn't change. I defined myself. And defining myself helped me realize now I was able to project myself in my business. I was able to push hard. I met myself late. But with that, it made me a better person. It made me push ahead. It made me know, okay, this is the line I'm walking with, and this is where I'm heading. This is where I'm going. This is what I want. This is what it will distract me. This is not will not help. So yes, meeting yourself is very important because a lot of people don't meet themselves and end up being on the wrong road. As she also said, as Olushola said, you just jump on trends, you just do anything people want. You're not, your purpose. Yes, like as he talked about that boy that got 300 for, yeah, he had not yet defined himself. At times, as also she said, we need that guidance, but at the same time, I ask, like, okay, what of people who don't have the guidance? Because environment matters in meeting yourself. That's another thing I believe that plays a part, environment. So, I always say, I always believe that there are moments that trigger it, no matter the situation. There are moments, there are situations that trigger it. And you just have to like allow yourself come out. Ask yourself deep rooted questions. Ask yourself, okay, where am I heading? What is this what I really want? Is this how is best for me? Is this my purpose? Is this, you just and then I also see it as something as you have to do it. Yes, there are things that will align you, push you and all, but you really have to do it for yourself. And then from there, you can be, mentored, you can be defined, you can be, you do what you want. You guys have even said most of it all. So yes, I met myself, and I would say that it's a good thing because it gives you so much clarity in life. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Bringing it back to education, I will start from fee. I want you to talk to school owners, school administrators, teachers. Like you have said, Coach Arms too has said, and I've also, of course, I met myself late. We don't or we shouldn't always have to meet ourselves late. Well, in any case, in one way or the other, we have succeeded in meeting ourselves. But do you know there are people who are yet to meet themselves? Now, in relation to the younger generation, what should schools be doing? Because apart from teaching mathematics, teaching English, and all that, which appear to be sacrosanct, every school you go, what do you think schools, administrators, teachers, in order to allow these young ones to meet themselves early, what and what should schools be doing going forward? Thank you.
Okay, I think going forward, we should create an environment where students, where children can meet themselves. We should create and not the rote kind of learning that we do, where everything they learn is written on the board, and everything they learn is written on the board, and they just copy. You just stand in front of the class and just talk to them. No, we should simulate situations of uh, maybe uh, simulate real life situations within the school environment, within the classroom environment. Give them opportunities, lead them, let them question, query, let them query things. So it's not just 2 plus 2 is 4. Why is 2 plus 2 4? Is it possible that 2 plus 2 can be 6? Is it possible that 2 plus 2 can be 1.5? I, we can allow, when they query themselves like that, when they query things like that, they're able to step out of the status quo, out of the norm, and that way they are beginning to get introduced to themselves. They're beginning to find themselves, and we are able to help them get introduced to themselves. When you simulate situations, give them one day to be maybe a big body to children in younger classes. Let them be the ones to lead them. Let them be the ones to lead them through the day, maybe through their lunch break or whatever it is. Give them that opportunity to not just sit down and be, well, just students, to just create the atmosphere for them and then when they come across situations like failure, they fail a test, they fail an exam, can you debrief? Can you have a debriefing moment with them? So it's not just look at you. Despite all the time that I've put into teaching you, this is the kind of result you came. Can you debrief? Can you find out how they interpreted what they were taught? Can you find out how they understand what they were taught? Why did they give the kind of answers they gave? That way they're learning. They're learning from and seeing failure not as an event, as it's not a closed event, but okay, so for this particular question, you did not get it right. This is what you expect. And right or wrong may not be so cut and dry that we expect that, oh, this is all right, oh, this is wrong. So if the school is able to provide students with this, educators also are able to provide them with these opportunities to simulate real life events, I think they will be able to meet themselves much earlier than many of us did. Thank you.
Yes, Rotimi, welcome back. Hello.
Thank you very much. Please
Okay.
continue.
Yes.
Carry on. Carry on. Please.
Okay. Now, Georgie, the question to you now is, how do we have spoken about helping students? How do we help their parents who have a mental picture of what they want the child to become? Some of those things is born out of having a sort of a sense of achievements or a sort of status symbol. My child is a doctor. My child is a lawyer. In some cases, is born out of their own failed dreams. I wanted to go to school, I couldn't. A very good example. Okay, yesterday night too, we needed to talk to the father because the man is an illiterate, but he wants the daughter to go to school, which is very good. And the man was so serious and told the girl, if you do any other thing apart from going to school, you will not have my blessing. It was that serious. So some parents, it's either you're a doctor or you are nobody. So they don't even allow the school counselor to work and say, hey, hello, ma'am, this boy is fit for the art. They say, no. I had a case many years ago. That girl can finish a novel that is as tall as anything. Chemistry, no. Physics, no. Even mathematics, no. And if they wanted her to be a doctor, it was SS3. SS3, 2 months to WAEC, she changed to art when the frustration started appearing. How do we help parents that these children needs to meet themselves? They don't need to meet you, mommy. These children doesn't have to replicate you or replicate their daddy. That child is unique. Let that child meet himself or herself, not you, not your brother or sister, not your cousin or whatever. That child needs to meet himself or herself. So how do we help parents? Thank you.
Okay. How do we help parents? Okay. First of all, I think we'll have to work on the parents before we now move on to the child also. Yes, we see a lot. Let me even use my brother. Yes, our first, the first boy in the family. He had always wanted to be a pilot. But my dad had friends that were pilots, and plane crash, all that, and everything. That was my brother's dream, to be a pilot, like right from when he was much younger. That was his dream. So at the end of the day, my dad didn't allow him to become a pilot. He made him read architecture. So with architecture, from 4 years it turned to 6 years. From 6 years it turned to, because my brother had an accident, life-threatening accident that made him, like, I think about 2 years he had to stay back. So at the end of it, my dad now regrets at the end of it, that because it took very long for my brother to bloom. It took him long to become the architect he is now, because even him, my brother, had to meet himself, because that was not the career he had planned that after the architecture he was going to go back to piloting. So, but he didn't. My dad discouraged him because of all that plane crash and everything. Back to what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, my dad regrets. My dad came to say he really wished he did not make him do what he wanted to do. He wished they allowed him do the piloting, because probably by now he felt my brother would have been way better than than what he is. He's doing well though, he's doing very fine and everything, but I feel the regret came less. Now, from my experience, I feel we have to talk to parents. Parents have to realize that your child is different from you. A parent has to realize that, yes, I gave birth to this child. This is my child. These are my dreams. I would love to, but at the same time, you have to realize that this is a person. This is like a whole person, a whole world. This is a community. This person is an immense body of so many things. They're as in, like, there are 101 possibilities that can go
Hello?
differently. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
Rotimi, yes, I can
Hello,
hear
I'm
you.
here.
Yes?
Yeah,
Well, can you hear
yes,
Okay.
me?
Georgie, Georgie,
Everyone. Okay.
go ahead, Georgie.
Is it my?
Okay.
I didn't get to hear her anymore. I don't know what happened.
But I can hear her. She's talking.
Wait, can anyone hear
She's still
me?
talking right now.
She's still talking. Yes,
Can you
Oh,
all hear
sorry.
me?
I'm still not hearing though.
I can hear you, Georgie.
I can I can hear you, sir.
Georgie,
Hello, can you? Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
continue.
Okay. So, as I said, that experience in our house made me not want to play it on my child, because I realized that my child is a different person. He's a different personality. He has his own destiny. He has his own purpose, as you were saying, sir. Your purpose, identifying yourself, meeting yourself. So I really feel the work is talking to parents. I don't know how we're going to do that, to be able to break that wall, that mental wall, that mental, as you said, some parents, there's this pride, that, oh, this person is like my house, we're plenty. We even have our first one, she's a doctor. I still remember when she has never failed any exam in her life. So finally, when she failed one in medical school, it was like the whole world had come to an end. And those of us that had been failing were like, why are you taking the thing so serious now? So I'm just trying to say that, at that time, My parents didn't know how to even like go about it and all. For her, thank God that time that she even failed that exam in medical. It's not medical school. I think it was to be a resident doctor. She was already married, so it was even her husband that helped her define and helped her to see it through. So at the same way, I feel as parents at different stages with our children, we have to realize the truth that they are embodiments of something else. They are embodiment of a purpose that God has given into them. We have to realize that they're a community, they themselves. We have to break that mindset, like, that pride or that achievement. Or I know there are a lot of things. It's natural for the man, that thing that you just want them to do what you were not able to achieve, to see it flow through. But you just have to like change the mindset. You just have to like see it differently and understand that this is it. And also like work on yourself. It's really not an easy path, should be told, but you just have to realize that this person will eventually meet themselves. They may follow the path you are desiring for them, and they may not, and they will still excel. So it's the way we nurture and the way we go about it will really help our kids. And I believe with that combined with education, we will have like a great, like, I don't even know how to say, great outcome. It will be wonderful. I hope I made good sense.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
most
Rotimi,
welcome.
can you hear us now? Hello, Rotimi.
Yes, I
Rotimi,
can
can
hear
you?
you now.
Okay, you can hear us. Okay, good. Now I want you to to shed light on the issue. As we grow, we evolve. What interests me when I was 10 may no longer interest me when I become 15. What interests me at 15, at 22 may no longer interest me. Yes, the world is changing for us. We are evolving and all that. So, is it a taboo to try before you get to where you are going, or is it just you just have to discover yourself right away? And in the course of evolving, we have done this before. I move to another thing. What and what do we really need to do to meet ourselves? Coaching, mentoring, what is the place? How important it is in the scheme of things with regards to meeting oneself? Thank you.
So I hope I got the question clearly. The importance of coaching and mentoring. I think it's because we must understand that our lives are in layers.
Are you
And
hungry?
as we
Yeah,
live,
I'm hungry. Oh.
you said,
Yeah, that's
Is
we
that
enter
Fee?
food call.
Fee, go ahead.
oh oh my goodness. All right. So, so I say, life is in layers. And I think that we must understand that as we live our life, um, when we discover who we are, when we meet ourselves, one of the benefit that does, it shows us, number one, our identity. And with mentoring and coaching, what happens is you begin to have sharpened focus, you begin to have clarity of mind, clarity of direction, you begin to have enablement in terms of pursuit. And so what that does is for every time you get better outcomes, you are on a path to becoming more. The more you become, right, the more you discover that you're not who you used to be. Your identity might be the same, but now you are on the path of authenticity, meaning that for the new level, for the new age, for the new pace you have gotten to, you need to be authentic for that. In other words, your state of being, the culture framework of your mind, and then the way you pursue better outcomes will differ from when you were first at the point of discovery. And there's another point where coaching and mentoring now takes you to a place of exploration. A lot of us always celebrate the place of discovery. And that's why you hear sometimes the appellation behind people's name. You hear the things they focus on, you hear the things they are into. But not so many people speak about the second phase, which most times is done with aided support, like the instrumentality of coaching and mentoring. And what that does is that it takes you from discovery to exploration, when you begin to explore the depths of who you are, the depths of what you are called to do, the depths of the dimension of the sphere that you are thriving in. That exploration, you begin to see multiple layers of expression. You begin to see the same thing in different measures and in different engaging outcomes. And that's really what you now see the place of coaching in, because then you now understand it's not something that you will do all by yourself. You need to get not just improvement, but you need to get immersion. You need to get support at all levels and at all sides. And that's why sometimes you see some people live their life in phases. Some people live their life with themes. Some people live their life with pillars. Why? Because at that point, they are not really going on the issue of discovery for identity. They are not going to the place of discovery for intention. They're not going for discovery for the place of just, initiatives, just to do something nice. They are not trying to explore, becoming all that they are meant to be, doing all they are meant to do, possessing all they are meant to have. And when they are able to get to that point, you find out that life becomes more meaningful, more fulfilling, and then, of course, better results. But this can always be accelerated or assisted through the use of coaching and mentoring. So, and coaching and mentoring should not be loosely used. It's not for the sake of turning an illiterate into a literate person. When I say an illiterate, I'm not saying someone didn't go to school, but a lot of times the benefit of coaching should not just be knowledge dissemination or knowledge acquisition. It's good to know, but the world is not lacking knowledge. That's the truth about it. Knowledge is increasing by the day. What the world is lacking is, number one, courage to do. Number two, integration of use. And then number three, exploration of being. Those three things are very, very important. I hope that's answered your question.
Thank you very much for that. Yes, our time is fast spent. As I want us to give our parting shot, Finfolio, are you with us now?
Yes, I am. Sorry
Good.
about earlier.
No problem. No problem. Now, as you give your parting shot, I want you to wrap the parting shot around multiple giftedness. Of course, when we are talking about meeting me, there are people what birth their confusion, just like Rotimi said, it's not lack of knowledge or uh, giftedness, is that they are more, they are talented in multiple areas, which appears to create a confusion. What do I actually, what am I? I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Where am I? And in the course of trying to decipher what they are supposed to narrow on, they dissipate a lot of energy. And at the end of the day, it's like a master of, or a jack of all, a master of none. So as you give your parting shot, I want you to wrap it around that area. For those who are multi-talented, how do we help them? What do they need to do to meet themselves? Thank you very much.
Okay. I think the first thing I'll say is that I don't think there's anybody who is not multi-talented. Everybody has at least two things that they can
Yes,
do very well.
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
we're talking to everybody and saying, look, you can do two things a minimum very well. But of the two, I'm sure that for if we were to take maybe a test, this may be the point where people need to have somebody help them streamline and go through their interests, go through what really catches their fancy. So, yes, someone like me, I would give myself as an example. There are many things I like to do. There are many things I am very good at doing. But over time, I've had to let some of them go because I realized that they were not working towards the the goal that I have set for my life. So I had to let certain things go. I saw them as hobbies, and they were hobbies that were going to distract me from focusing all of my energies in one place and getting the kind of results I want to get from my life. So I would just say that we all need to get to that point where we take a step back, we take a thorough look at those things that we like to do and ask which of these things work together towards my common goal, which of those things work together towards achieving that purpose that I believe that I'm working towards as an individual, and then we can streamline to that. Along the line you can find that, okay, so um, you find that you get into some situations and one of those other competencies you have comes in handy. Fine. It's not about throwing it away or completely ignoring it, but you're just giving it less time and less concentration and less focus than the others that you're very sure that this leads in the direction I want to go. So if, for example, one of the things I like to do is putting together something electrical, and it doesn't have anything to do with my current um, job as a special education needs educator. Then it's I'm not throwing it away that I like electrical experiments, but I'm not putting so much focus in it as to putting focus on all the other things that I know how to do that come together to help me to be better in my present calling. So that would be my parting shot this morning.
Thank you very much. Yes, Pachom, in 1 2 minutes.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
Hello.
Your parting shot.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. I would just like to say, let's just try and change the narrative for ourselves. Let's as she said, if as long as it's streamlined, as in there are people who, in fact, each and everyone has two things they're very good at. If we can just nurture it and streamline it into positivity, encouraging the child or the person for this, sorry, encouraging the child or the person for that to really, really be helpful. So I feel it starts from us. If we're able to nurture it right, it will go a long way and to really help.
Thank you. Then Rotimi.
Hello? Yeah.
Well, I think that everyone should meet themselves, but not just look at it from what they've been all the while, but also from a profiling outcome, what they could be. I think that excites you more when you begin to see that there's so much about us that we're yet to explore. No matter how much we are celebrated, no matter how good we are, the past is not better than the future. And that's really what we all should understand. Um, that's all for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to believe, fine, the topic is inexhaustive, so to say, but we've been able to do justice to it this morning. And in our usual way, we are going to sign out with our usual mantra as we want to sign out for today. And this is to say thank you to all our tribe members out there who've been here. Some have commented, some are just following us. I think you've done great. We say thank you to you. And it's to be lovely for us to share this with other people, because I can tell you there are 1,001 people out there who are the a crossroad of life, who doesn't know where to turn. And their stock is taking time, it's taking energy, and they are not really achieving as they would have loved to. So share it with them, encourage them to come on board with us. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Mondays to Fridays, Good Morning Education Show. Of course, Saturday's edition will come up 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. While Sunday edition comes up 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We want you to come around, join us for this scintillating episodes, very educative and enlightening. And I can tell you, you will surely have value for your time and for your data. Thank you very much. So we sign out as we usually do after the count of two. 1 2 go. It
It's
is
always
always
a great
a great
morning
morning on the Good Morning
on the Good Morning
Education
Education
Show.
Show. I'm almost tempted
Bye.
to say it's always a scintillating morning.
Don't worry, we will discuss the
Bye.
other thing. This one, Rotimi just kept quiet.
That's
He didn't say
little.
anything. I hope he will not come for you.